We will be starting pretty soon. Waiting for my co-hosts. Quarterfinals, baby. Let's go. Yo, 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 yo. Hello? You on mute, mate. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Wait, I'm having problems connecting.
Of Cantina MX Football Podcast. Obviously, we are in the World Cup fever right now. We have the quarterfinals all set. The round of 16 matches have officially ended as of today. And sadly, for the first time since the World Cup kicked off, we will not have soccer tomorrow or the day after. So we'll have to wait until Friday to see who will make it to the semis. And tonight we're going to be, of course, streaming live on Twitter Spaces and simultaneously on YouTube. So hop on to either platform and feel free to request to speak and talk to us. Tonight we have Joel and Habibi joining us on the panel. How we doing, gentlemen?
Doing great. Excited for the games coming up. There's want to see if the favorites keep it going, or there's a few upsets that might throw everything off.
Absolutely. Joel's over here washing dishes.
Oh, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I was having technical difficulties.
You know who else was having technical difficulties? Japan and Spain with their penalty kicks. Holy shit.
I know. I saw the Spanish. They look like Mexicans, dude. I was like, I never think seen Spain shoot that bad. There's some very horrible kicks.
Hey man, Spain's a lie. They had a golden generation, and they're back to reality.
But didn't they also win a Euro?
Yeah, during that golden generation.
Oh, just you're
You know
saying,
how many World Cup games Spain has won since they were champs in 2010?
Like
Th- three.
yeah,
three?
Three games between 2014, 2018, 2022. Before 2008, Spain was not a powerhouse, and after their gold generation, they're back to not being a powerhouse.
Well, I
well,
mean, I think like what happened was obviously what Spain did in 2008 to 2012 hadn't been done before. Winning a Euro, winning a World Cup, winning a Euro again. And also like the style of play, right? I mean, look at every team now. All these teams now play from the back. All these teams have sort of adopted this tiki-taka sort of style, and that's one of the things that comes out of these World Cups is like everybody now wants to copy that same style, like Holland, the machine, right? The 4-4-2, like everybody copied that style in the next like World Cup after. So you create a style, then everybody intimidates or starts to like copy that style, and then all of a sudden you're kind of back to square one. And yeah, that's where we are right now.
yeah, I think well with Spain they've been on and off. They've been like candidates, you know, and they've had like pretty good teams. They had a good team in '94. Uh, they were, you could say, robbed against Italy. There was the elbow, and I think it was to Luis Enrique. We should check. I think it was Luis Enrique that gets elbowed in the face. It's all bloodied up, and that should have been like a red card. Um, so that's '94, '98. They had a really good team, and they crashed. They had Pep there, but yeah, they were one of those teams that like similar to the Dutch, where they'll have really strong teams, and then they just weren't able to do it up until that golden generation. But I think they continue being, being one of those teams. It's just that World Cup, it's one-off games, man. If they were best of six, they would be easily top five.
Yeah, but they've always been that Mas Merito team. They've always been so close, but always like fell at the end. Outside of that golden generation, I mean, it's just their story. And it's not 6 games; it's one. And then the thing is, Spain played two bad games in a row. They played bad against Japan,
Hmm.
and they then played great against Morocco. So it's not like it's a one-off game. Yet two bad games in a row.
No,
They only
I
won
know
one
it's
game
not.
in the group stage.
I know it's not six, but then I mentioned the one-off because of the tournament format. Because then when we see some of these teams that get these shock results or end up doing a deep run that are normally teams that are very consistent, and then you see later they don't really do anything. Greece is a pretty good example of when they won the Euro,
Yep.
and then they didn't do anything after that. You know,
You got to
Yeah,
have a
but I
little bit
think
of
it's
luck on
like
your side with these kind of matches.
Yeah, and I also think it's like Messi said, Guardiola ruined the game. And what he meant by that is that, when he
damn.
played that dominant Barcelona style, it elevated Spain's level, but it also elevated Real Madrid's level to be better. So the base of that golden generation was like a mixture of Barcelona players and Real Madrid players, and they just became unstoppable. But everything that's been after that, it's been cheap imitations of Guardiola. Xavi, Luis Enrique, those kind of guys that try to play that style that Guardiola implemented, they're cheap imitations of Guardiola. And they also didn't have the tools that he had, which was, like a prime Busquets, a prime Iniesta, and all that. And
Xavi,
those guys
yeah.
that got transferred to they took that level with them to the national team. So I will die on this hill. I think they had a golden generation, but they're back to being that El Mas Merito team. And also, he took a base of Europa League players because at the end of the day, that's what Barcelona is, man. And Barcelona did not have the mentality to stay in Champions League and win and dominate. And they go to Europa League, and that's the base of the team you bring. Obviously, it's a mental issue. The players are too young; they don't have the experience. So Luis Enrique does have some blame on that. I think I said it a couple podcasts ago. You need a coach who's good in the tournament level. Morocco's coach, he won the Champions League, the Asian Champions League with the local team. There was an issue with the manager from Morocco, and then they call him in August. He's been with the team 3 months, but
Yeah.
he won a Champions League, and now he's in a similar format of a tournament, and he's doing well. That's what you need. You need coaches who know how to play those short tournaments.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to be mad at Spain for bringing players like Gavi and Pedri who are like 18, 19 years old. I mean, that's pretty impressive. We're over here taking the second oldest team in the tournament and praising 5 World Cups for Guardado and Ochoa. So, and then another thing too, like one thing that you mentioned, like bringing in a coach last minute or bringing in a player last minute. Uh, Portugal today, Ramos, the guy that benched Ronaldo, controversial, right? How are you going to bench like Cristiano Ronaldo? He's looking to break some personal records, and you're going to bench him in favor for this kid who, up until recently, had only played like he wasn't even part of like the qualifying like campaign for Portugal. He kind of just came in as a last minute and had only had one goal for Portugal before this, and he ends up scoring a hat trick and being like the man of the match. So it's like fuck your process, fuck seniority, bro. You take who's hot, bro. And I mean, over here in Mexico, we have too much of like a hierarchy, too much of that respect for the seniority. And it's like, dude, you take who's fucking hot, dude. Like, fuck all your shit, dude.
I agree in taking who's hot, but you can't take 10 people that are hot. They won't always pan out like that.
Yeah, and not hating on Gavi or Pedri, but what I meant is by that, it seems they were liking like an experienced player like Ramos who can take that
Thiago.
pressure on his back and take it away from the younger ones.
I think people were
Busquets
asking
does not have
for
that kind of
Thiago.
personality.
Yeah. I will say, ahora ganó el pinche football because, come on, bro. Spain just passes you to death. They had over 1,000 completed passes. Morocco had like a fraction of that. Obviously, the way Morocco played today was not also like, it was also anti-football, let's be honest, parking the bus or whatever. I will say in the first half, though, Morocco was actually giving it to Spain. And in the end, I think like Morocco deserves to get through the next round. They're exciting. They're the only team from Africa that remains. And you kind of need to have that little that one dark horse, or else it's like the same suspects and it gets
No,
boring.
I wouldn't call them dark horse. I mean,
Why not?
dark dark horse is usually the team that.
I don't think anybody expected them to go this far in the World Cup.
Yeah, but a dark horse you kind of do expect them. Like you know that they're strong enough to take out
Like a Belgium.
stronger teams. Yeah, like yeah, that's a perfect example. Belgium would be considered a dark horse. Even the Dutch, uh, they're more like the little engine they could. They can.
Hey, I just want to say, someone out there did believe him. Some guy on BR Sports, he bet 90,000 for them to make quarterfinals,
Shit.
and they paid him out again.
Damn.
So there was one
Damn.
believer out there.
There's this guy out there, because my friends are degenerate gamblers. He says that there's a guy that bet for like the Warriors to win, the Rams to win. There was like one more bet, and then the last bet is for the guy for France to win. And if
Well,
he has like this crazy like parlay, and if France is the last bet for him to win like $1 million. It's pretty crazy.
well, the thing I would say about like betting on some team like is that like every other World Cup, you do get a team that ends up doing a deep run. There wasn't expected Croatia, and then you've had like South Korea, you've had Turkey.
I would
So every now
say,
and then,
yeah, I would say in the last World Cup, the big shock was Russia because they got all the way to quarters and they beat Spain.
Wait, weren't they at home though?
Yeah, but like no one expected Russia to like do anything, even if they were the host.
Even this whole time is like, nah.
One thing I do
Was
want to disagree with you though is calling Morocco anti-football. I completely disagree with that because you gotta look at Spain. They have an identity of this tiki taka they've been doing for what 12, 14 years now. Morocco, they can't just come out and like create a style like that within the tournament a coach they got like 3 months ago. So like we're gonna play our advantages and take advantage of that, our style. We can't even implement a style. So they did what works for them under the circumstances.
What, parking the
So
bus is a style all of a sudden?
it's defensive. It might not be the most entertaining to you,
how,
but
how,
is
how many months was
15,000 passes
It's anti-football
backwards into the
though.
sides entertaining?
wait
That's boring. It puts you to
wait
sleep.
how many months you say he was with the team?
3 months. He took over in August,
How how many months did Piojo have?
like November, December,
Piojo had like
six
that
6,
months.
the
half a year.
the repechaje, which was what, I don't know when the playoff was against New
That
Zealand.
might as well be a Molero, dude. Come on. He pretty ready for that.
Oh, I'm googling it right now. What are you trying to say though, Joel?
He didn't have like a whole proceso, and he had the team playing attacking.
Yeah. So those matches were in November, and the World Cup was obviously like 6 months after that, or 7 months, whatever. Look, I'm not hitting on Morocco. I'm proud of them. Like they're on to the next rounds. But do anyone seriously think they're gonna beat Portugal? No.
Would you
Especially,
say that Portugal is better than Spain on paper?
I would say after what we saw today, especially I was actually pulling for Switzerland. I thought Switzerland were gonna upset Portugal. After seeing what they did today to Switzerland, dude, I mean, come on, dude. They're not like Spain. Spain was just playing like at like again, passing the ball, defending with possession, right? And they didn't really have like a go-to striker. They're kind of like Mexico. They don't have a nine, or they didn't
I
use
feel
them.
robbed, Jaime. I feel robbed because I think Spain, Portugal would have been a really good game.
Ball don't lie, bro. The ball don't lie. The two teams that merited today's victories, they got them. It doesn't. All right, in my opinion, I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I already have the final in my head, and I don't see it going any different. I have France and Brazil in the final. Like, fuck everybody else, dude.
Oh, rematch for '98. Where
From
do
what
you see
I've
taking
seen,
it?
everything I needed to see from the group stage to the round of 16, those are by far the two best teams in the tournament right now.
There's a
Oh yeah, no
mathematician
doubt.
that got the last two finals right, as far as like the champions and everything. And what he predicted for this year was Argentina England final.
Oh, that's a bad
So
final.
Is that the guy that had Mexico beating France, right?
I don't know. Oh, you mean like his bracket? Yeah, yeah. I think it
Yeah.
was the same guy, but like his as far as the champion, his last two predictions have been right. So I know if it's England beats France, oh my god, like you already know they're gonna go all the way
England
and lose
isn't
to
beating
Argentina.
France.
No, I
You
don't
never
think they
know, dude.
are. I don't. I mean, their
Nah,
center backs
son.
are
It's a World
Maguire
Cup,
and
dude.
Stones. Maguire and Stones cannot stop Griezmann,
Nah.
Giroud, Mbappe.
You
But
never know, dude.
but what we've seen,
No,
you
I
never
do
know.
know. I already know, bro. Dude, this is France, bro. They're coming off of winning the last one with most of the same team. They have the
Well, yeah,
experience now.
but I mean, a lot of times you do get overconfident.
We're talking
Sometimes,
about England, bro.
Injuries,
England
you
are
never know
known
what
to bottle
happened.
things.
Stupid red card, stupid handball in the box. Never know.
Uh, England,
yeah,
England are
and
always no.
expulsion early
Dude,
on.
England haven't won a World Cup since TV was black and white, bro. Stop it.
60,
And their World Cup
66.
was pretty fixed. I'll say that too. There's a lot of safety calls.
I don't see any team beating France except for Brazil.
That would be the dream matchup right there in the
I want
rematch
that
of
rematch,
'98.
bro. I want that rematch against
So
that. You know. Hopefully
So foot
Nike doesn't intervene in this one.
so football's not coming home.
Nah.
I mean, the
In
saying
fact,
was,
I honestly I'm upset because they took away what would have been a great semifinal. I think England France would have been a great semifinal, but instead
yeah.
we get in the quarterfinals, and I mean I'm not shitting on Portugal, but I just don't see anybody beating France, man.
the the saying used to be, England invented the game, but Brazil perfected
Oof.
it.
Brazil, France, final, third place match, Argentina, Portugal.
Oh, and we'll still get that Messi matchup. Okay, I'm down with that. Messi,
Yeah,
me-
France beats Portugal, Brazil beats Argentina in semis.
And they could,
dude. Now
dude,
we
and
talking.
they could both be in the bench. They're
All
all old
right.
now.
Unless
They're
there's
like the,
some tinkering. I know FIFA wants a Ronaldo versus Messi final. I don't want it personally, but I
too late.
know
Is it like the Pacquiao Mayweather fight? Like too little, too late.
yeah,
You, you
that's
don't want
just
to see it anymore.
exactly. I know like fans want to see that. I know the entire country of India would settle that debate. You know, it would settle a debate for a lot of people. Just like, who are you going for, Messi or Ronaldo? Who's the best of all time? I know it's like the perfect like finish to to both of their careers. I just don't personally want it.
I know Central America wants to watch that final.
a lot, a lot of people want to see it, but I'm like, by this point, it's like it's not the same anymore.
Ronaldo,
You know,
Ronaldo did everyone a favor by not playing today.
Ronaldo got, yeah, he got benched. He unceremoniously left Manchester United, which it's like
He's a free agent.
they were what, they weren't even calling him up, right, before he left.
He has a fat ego and yeah.
And then with just Messi, he's not the same Messi that we
Uh,
we got used to seeing. That used to just dribble everyone, the team, the arbitro, the fans. We haven't really seen that guy.
well, I
Not that
mean,
I was expecting him to do that.
when you get older, you don't have like those strengths anymore, you know, like the speed, but you do get what you get in exchange is the craftsmanship is knowing where to position yourself. And that's all you need once you get older. I mean, we saw Messi start to pull back a little bit, and that's when he scored that goal against Mexico. He started to drop back a little bit, boom, and he still has that finish. He still has that leg. We saw it against Australia, right? I mean, he kind of sat back. They kind of just set him up with a ball and you just put it away. Like that's all you need if you're Argentina. Just set him up in situations where he can just hit it with his left foot or whatever. I will say though that Argentina Australia match was unconvincing for me. They were very close to getting at least equalized at the end. And
Oh yeah, there was a couple. Yeah.
dude, Lautaro is like trash, dude. That guy is like the new Higuain, man. Holy shit, dude. He missed so many, dude. And if Australia would have tied that game up, they would have absolutely crucified him.
Dude, Inter needs to find new strikers because Lukaku was trash for Belgium as well.
Oh yeah,
Both Inter strikers just trash.
I refer to him as Big Chungus Lukaku. Yeah, terrible striking. Was anybody actually surprised that USA lost to the Netherlands?
No, although some people were already believing the hype and had the U.S.
I
shocking them.
believe that we will win.
I think those teams like England and Netherlands and I forgot the other team. They're very kind of similar with kind of how they go about playing, and where some of their strengths are, like in set pieces and corner kicks. And I think when they meet when they meet a team like that, they sort of se cancelan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because and yeah, for years that's kind of the model that they copied here in the US. They would always go after like English and Dutch coaches, and you always heard about like pelotazo and whatnot, um, going after the really top players. Dude, the Dutch has some really top players. Some of these dudes are huge. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where they you know, they're kind of a clone of those styles. I'm not saying they play exactly like them, but they're like, they like they kind of come from, you know how they say with clone, they sort of like each clone is not as good as the original.
Mm-hmm.
So similar, because same as Mex in a way with Argentina, um, and because especially if you look at it throughout the years, all the players and coaches that in Mexico they're pretty much just Argentine.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say the rosters were like like a huge difference as far as level. I think the biggest difference was in the coaching. Like Van Gaal completely ate up the U.S.
Oh
players.
yeah, dude.
Like with
Thank God, man.
those first 8 9 minutes, it looked like the U.S. was dominating.
Yep.
But then you realize that Netherlands was letting them have the ball, let
Oh
everything
man,
do.
they were playing with
That
their
first
food.
goal, man, they got that turnover in their own half. One, two, three passes, long ball, goal. Second
And
goal, same.
I'm glad you bring that up because I think that is the difference between, let's just say, like the top countries or clubs or whatever, is like clinical finishing. Like they have an opportunity, they put it away. Period. And you see that happen with like USA had a clear chance early in the match. You've seen it with like Mexico from against was it Poland or against Argentina? Vega, where he just like within the first like 3 minutes, like he could have put it away. Like those are like the the make or break between being good and being great and being like the top club or top country. I think those are those situations that arise. You had to put them away.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And just to close off with the U.S., uh, they're a very young team. I think second youngest. So yeah, they should get better. I just don't buy the hype that they're gonna be this like. I think they very similar to the Mex, where where the media likes to overhype the team and make them out like they're gonna be way better than they actually are. And I feel that's a bit the same here with the US, where they like I saw a lot of fans calling them like the best ever, like or their most talented ever, which is something they've been waiting for a long time. Because I used to hear the same back when they had Landon Donovan and I think it was DeMarcus Beasley. They had that youth team that had done really well in the youth tourneys. And
They beat Mexico.
oh, two.
No, the youth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
Well, then that
yeah.
same team ended up beating them at the World Cup.
Mhm.
But anyway, since then, you would hear stuff like that, like oh, this is the golden generation. And I think it's more just because, well, because you have these players playing in these teams, and like so automatically it's like you sort of expect it to like transfer to the national team, and we've seen it many times where that's not always the case, and we've seen it with some of our own players like Hugo Sanchez and even Raul Jimenez. They never were really able to do what they did at the club at the national team.
Mhm. I've been watching the Maestro show on Do the N.
Dude.
I hear echo.
Jaime, really quick, man.
What's up?
That's been my favorite part of the World Cup. That show.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, dude. Especially when they're talking their own personal stories,
Mhm.
and then you kind of get a good idea how far off you were of
The
like when
truth.
we talk about yeah, or what they were going for, especially when we'll talk about stuff here. And a lot of times it's hard for us to know because we don't have access to that info. So we try to piece it together from the scraps of info that we do have. And so then when you're hearing them talking about how they're like, for example, when they brought in Nestor, I mean, Chepo. They brought in Chepo,
Hmm.
and he started talking about how the selección was doing the youth, uh, how they were working with the youth and sending scouts everywhere, and how he said, and and this is one thing I had mentioned with about how like the players don't get a fair shot, and he was saying how they would get phone calls and be like, you need to check this youth out, like you need to check him out, he's doing really good, and they'll go to the club and it's like he's not even in first, they already sent him to the youth team or to the second division filial
Hmm.
or whatnot, and how they kept running into that sort of problem. But
Well,
that whole
there's one thing that La Volpe said today, and I thought it was very interesting. Is like Argentina never aspired to be a under 17 World Cup champion, under 20 World Cup champion. They're over here focused on debuting and playing for Boca and playing for River and getting that first division experience, and that's like the attitude. And like La Volpe said that these like youth titles don't mean shit. And I don't know. I thought it was like pretty refreshing to see that or hear that from La Volpe. And you can see it too. Like they had Chepo on there, they have Aguirre on there, they've had all these coaches, and you can tell, bro. They all have their certain ways of viewing the game and their philosophies, and a lot of them are like it's like trying to put two magnets together that are opposite, and they just won't stick, dude. It's just like they're just so in their ways, dude, and they're so stubborn, bro.
it was funny seeing La Volpe hating on La Puente, and he wouldn't give him credit because Chepo was pretty much praising La Puente because that's pretty much his school. You know, he became a coach through working with La Puente, and but what was like super interesting was dude La Volpe naming the whole fucking team.
Yeah,
You're going back over 20 years. This guy's saying the fucking lineup off the top of his head. I was like, damn, dude. This guy eat, breathe, sleeps that the fucking game, man.
yeah. Would you like to have him back on the national team?
No. I
He
think
knows so much though. It's like, damn, bro. It's like it'd be a waste to like. I know he retired from coaching, but damn, bro.
he does, but he still seems a bit stubborn, and he. I think he would be kind of stubborn to work with other people, and he he. But I agree with you in that, and I wouldn't mind seeing him as in the national team as like a technical advisor, like with Brazil in '94, they had Mario Lobo Zagallo, and he was like one of the in the coaching with Alberto Pereira,
Hmm.
who was the coach, and Lobo Zagallo had been the he had won the World Cup with Brazil way back when, and they kind of just had him there, dude. And in that sense, yeah, why not? You have someone like that where you could analyze games or analyze opponents because that's what they do a lot of times. They would like they Aguirre and even what's his name? Shit, Tuca. Tuca was doing that in '94 for Mejia Baron. He would send them to analyze the opponents and do breakdowns and so yeah, do you have someone like I wouldn't mind him like coaching the youth, like the whole youth program.
Yeah,
I would let him do that. But with the senior team, I just feel he's still like how do you say it? Like dude, they were saying it. I think they call him out on it, but or I think I'm thinking of someone else. I don't know. I have my reservations. He seems to be a bit unlucky with the
hmm,
selección grande. He just seems to he, he just seems to have like a black cloud over him, almost like Bielsa too. He, you know, it's like because at the end of the day, you want to win.
hmm.
As much as the team plays fancy or whatever, you still want to win a trophy and whatnot. And so it's funny because Bielsa even talked about that where he was saying like going off of like silverware, you know that he said they could question his career, but he's just that such a good coach that they always look for him because they know he can rebuild their squad.
And
but
he's being rumored to coach Uruguay.
I thought it was a done deal.
Nothing's ever a
That was
done
just
deal.
that was just the internet, huh?
If everything was a done deal that you read on Twitter, Ronaldo would be playing at Saudi Arabia.
I don't see him taking Uruguay.
I don't see him
Uruguay's
taking
like
over like a country, right? Like I feel like he wants to
I
be on
could
that
see him.
day to day,
I
you
could
know?
I I could see him in the country. They give him like let him do his thing and take selecciones. But like Uruguay is sort of like it was managed by like this one. Like if you think Televisa's bad, Uruguay's like three times worse. Like basically one dude, and I think he's also from the TV, Denfield or something like that. Oh man, I forget his name, but that's the guy that it was because of him that Neri ended up playing in Mexico.
Oh
Because
wow.
Neri was playing with the under 15 or he was training with them, and then
Nettie was
he
eligible to
got
play for Greece, Uruguay, and Mexico.
no, but he wasn't he he at this point he was just Uruguay and Mexico.
Oh,
Um, because he was still a youth. He ended up going to Greece, but um, so he was in the under 15 with he was in Uruguay and he was in the under 15 national team, but they weren't playing like official games. They just play like these unofficial tournaments,
mm-hmm.
like non FIFA tournaments. And I think they were in Europe, and I think Man U invited him for a tryout. And so his dad took him, and this dude found out, and he booted him out of the selección juvenil. And after that, they end up taking the Olympiacos, and so he was still very young, and he ended up staying over there. I think he debuted at Champions League at 16.
Damn.
I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's, but so yeah, but at that point he had been there that long that he became eligible for Greece. But then I think his dad was like, let me. He came out like in a radio station in Mex talking about Nady, and then Mexicans do get a hard on for any player in Europe, and that was that, dude. It just sucks the whole tragic, like
Mm-hmm.
uh, Greek tragedy, pretty much.
Yeah, it is what it is, though. Um, Going over the other results, you had Japan, Croatia. You know, everybody was rooting for Japan, and they were even up 1-0, but Croatia with that experience, man, and you know, can't doubt them because they are the World Cup second place runner up, whatever you want to call it. And in the end, the PKs are just atrocious. Like you hate to see a country like Japan go out on penalties the way they went out. Like just terribly executed, man. Like did they even practice?
Yeah, sometimes the nervios, they're they're making history for their country, and it got to that, to that moment, and then they just choked.
Yeah, and of course, you know their culture. The coach bowed at the end of the match, and they cleaned up the mess, and they went to the locker rooms. Like, dude, they're just like so respectful, bro. It's like, damn, you have like Serbia who was like choking other like players. You had like Uruguay like breaking the VAR screen. Like, dude, like you have other countries that just are. They don't know, dude. It's just a game, bro. Like,
Yeah,
handle it with
no,
class.
There's a video where they scored the second goal against Spain, and it's like in the Japanese office. And I was expecting everyone to go nuts, and literally scored the second goal, and they do like two little claps and like back to work.
Yeah. And the other Asian team, Korea, man, Brazil just looked like they were having fun yesterday. I genuinely enjoyed that game because it's like that's the Brazil you know and love. You know, the Joga Bonito, the team that just plays to win,
yeah,
and the celebrations, and again the coach involved in the dancing. Like, bro, this is the way that's my favorite interpretation of soccer, bro. Like I love the way
It
Brazil
is.
plays.
2002 Brazil vibes. I'm loving it as well.
And it's funny because some people were trying to talk about disrespect of the Brazilian team being disrespectful for dancing and whatnot. And then the video of the
Tite.
Koreans going to the locker room,
Oh
and dude, they they just were so chill with each other.
yeah.
Hey, and like
It's like,
Ochocinco said it best. You don't want them to dance, just don't let them score.
We have our number one fan on. He's been silent and patient. I don't know if he has anything to add with the round of 16 results, but feel free to speak up, Ricardo. Um, I'm gonna keep going through these results with France and Poland. Poland were like the most uninspiring team, don't you think? Just
Shouldn't
over,
even have been in the next round. Shouldn't
huh?
have even been there. They shouldn't even been in the
That's what
round
I
of
mean.
16.
Like
It's terrible.
you know, you can kind of give other countries the benefit of the doubt, but Poland just no juana nada, way. Pinches polacos,
On
way.
that
Like
note, Tata chinga tu madre was like, wow.
at least us, we would have made it entertaining, you know, against France. But shit, dude, like Poland just they.
Boring white bread, man. No seasoning, flavor, nothing.
Hey man, that was last week, bro. We're over the losses now.
Good evening, gentlemen. How's it going?
good evening.
Um, I see a new guest is on Habibi.
Oh, that's Al Pastor.
Oh,
Bibi.
Habibi.
uh, I was catching up with the last podcast because I couldn't call in because I was in Corpus Christi, the home of Selena.
Salinas.
Yeah, and man, after that, listening to that, you should Habibi. You should change your name to Baby Birria Tacos, man. Like, what was going on with the hating on America and pretty much not criticizing? Let's be honest. I hate to be that guy, and I'm gonna be the scapegoat, and I'm here for it. But this this World Cup, I don't really like. I get why everyone's so invested in it, but at the end of the day, Mexico doesn't have elite players, so this is always gonna happen. But regarding baby Habibi, you were criticizing Raul like everyone else was, but no one said anything about that bum Alvarado. The guy just showed up. He showed up looking like a dope head with his eyes all wide open. He didn't do anything, and the the baby birria report fans, all of them said, "Oh, this guy, oh, he's better than Linus. This guy can play five positions.
All right, whoever said that, it's out of their mind.
Five positions. Like, what the hell are these people talking about, man? The guy can barely play the position he plays with in Chivas. And the elephant in the room. I told you guys before, but you guys try to lampoon me,
Oh
crucify
man.
me, and burn me to the stake. I li-
Damn.
Vega is overhyped. I kept telling you guys, this guy is just he does that stupid little cutback move in the Liga MX against the Liga MX scrub defenders, and he was exposed at the world stage. He didn't do anything, and all the reporters they kept saying the same thing. This is his World Cup, the number 10. He's gonna show out. After this, he's gonna go to Europe. Y nada pasó, just like I told you guys, man.
I agree with all those points. Yeah, Vegas stock price definitely went down. If there's any chance he's going to Europe, those chances definitely went down. He did not perform how it was expected of him. With the thing with Pio Alvarado though, no one expected Pio Alvarado to be called up, not even his mom. But he got called up. He was healthy. But Raul, everyone knew, even Raul knew he shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been there. Wolves knew he shouldn't have been there. Wolves didn't want him to go. Wolves wanted him to focus on his recovery because they're fighting relegation. They're hoping they can get him back. And he didn't listen because they told him he wasn't ready. And then he went out, bummed out, and now Wolves wants to get rid of him. It was more about the injury. It was more like the morality of the thing. It's like you can't tell Pio Alvarado like, hey, bro, you got to drop yourself from the team because you're not good enough. When you had other players there like Herrera, Antuna, who shouldn't have been there either. But with the thing with Raul, it was just more of that question of his health, knowing he was not at a level where he could perform 100% and not based on talent or skill, just from a health perspective.
Yeah, but no one in the media made such a. Let's be honest, they're hating on him because he's an America guy. Everyone, you're
I
telling.
don't think so.
No, I think it was hate because he was Santi's spot.
I
Piojo
think
was not taking a spot from Santi like official wise. And same thing with Vega. It's just more like Tata said, I'm taking three strikers. It's between these four guys. Funes Mori and Henry Martin, they were at least healthier than Raul. And Raul, we just all knew he wasn't healthy enough to play.
Raul hasn't
And
played
then
for America since
you can criticize
2014, dude.
Tata
Like, there's no
for
rivalry there
Funes.
anymore.
No, no, I get that, but what I'm trying to say is I'm agreeing with you guys. He shouldn't have showed up. But the media was the main point, and obviously he shouldn't have showed up. But these other guys didn't contribute anything whatsoever to
Well,
the
I
team.
mean, who did? Everybody's to blame, bro. Except for
No,
like Luis
but
Chavez. He's the
let's be
only.
honest, Jaime. The media was sent was the spotlight was on him though. The ESPN through the even through the N the freaking America channel.
Mm.
Everyone was shitting on this guy, and like you said, no one showed up, but the focus was on him. Like
Well, then you
just
Well,
can't
him.
because
say
it's
it's because
like,
he's an America player if even the America fans were hating on him. Obviously, it was for other reasons. My
No,
problem with
yeah.
Tata was Funes Mori. All this hype over Funes Mori made him naturalize himself. Like, you needed him. You wanted to base your style around him. He's your ideal striker, and then he plays 4 minutes.
And here's the thing too. You always know that the media and journalists, especially in Mexico, have another hidden agenda. You know, they do this stuff intentionally. I don't know why, but if they want to basically ruin a guy's career, they can do that without skipping a beat. And so it's like I don't know like when the tide turned against Raul Jimenez, but I mean obviously like nobody is on his side right now. He's like, not even allowing people to comment on his social media pages anymore. So it's like his career's done, bro. I don't know if he just got he ruffled some feathers. Maybe he said something he shouldn't have said. Maybe he spoke out of turn, and everyone just said, "All right, guys, next on the agenda is let's basically ruin Raul Jimenez's career." And that's what's happening right now. But I don't think anybody was excused from that performance from Mexico except for like again Luis Chavez. That's it, bro. I don't know who
no,
else.
I'm calling out Al Pastor because he was saying the America guys. The saving grace was Henry scoring, Ochoa blocking the penalty. Let's be honest, Chivas didn't. Their guys didn't show up.
I mean, they didn't really play except for Vega.
Hey, well, like Trump said, they're not sending their best, man.
Yeah, it is what it is, bro. Like, eh,
No, but
I don't know.
I'm not really true. I'm not really
Yeah,
worried about the Mexico man. Like Mexico, like I'm not even
we're
invested
the
like
first
that.
team to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. We already got it in the bag, man.
Exactly. Like this is my seventh World Cup, man. My first one was '98.
Yes, sir.
After what I seen in 2002, I'm like Mexico, like that innocence of thinking, oh, Mexico has a chance, man. That's long gone.
Oh,
But
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
but
02
what I
broke your
do,
spirit, huh?
oh yeah, for sure. After my guy Khan took those two goals
Say
for
the line,
Brazil,
Bart. Say the line.
yep,
2-0.
exactly. No, hey, but I gotta be the the Mexican Edward Snowden, the Alex Jones of Mexican football right now, man. I gotta call out the fake news.
Yeah.
USA, USA. They didn't show up, man. They didn't even put up a fight against Netherlands.
It's a young team, dude. I think
But the
just
hype was overblown, Joel. You
oh
gotta
yeah, the
admit it, man.
hype.
Dude, they
I
didn't
know,
qualify
Gotta
for
admit
the
but
it,
last
we
bro.
World
can't.
Cup. So it's
I
like,
I know, but we can't based off of hype. You know, I'd rather we base it off of our own observations than go off of like fanboys
like
or the media that always has to sell. You know, they're always selling. That's part of their
apart
thing.
from the delusional American fans, did they like what did they expect to get out of this World Cup? Because they didn't qualify for the last one. So them just going to the World Cup and having those 3 games and not losing to England, a lot of Americans are like proud and are okay walking away from the tournament with just that. And then losing against Netherlands, that was kind of like a bonus for them. I don't
Well,
think
Jaime,
I don't think
like you
people
said,
had them going
Jaime.
out getting out of the group. So anything after that was a bonus for them.
Well, like you said, Jaime, this is a young team that was coming off of the back of a team that failed, and then for them to win everything in the region and then go to the World Cup and get out of the group stage, I think they achieved a lot already for that. For that, that's a lot of experience with a lot of these young players, and they definitely have a lot to work, a lot of players to work with going into the next World Cup. So I do expect them to be a stronger team. I just don't see the talent being that next level type talent.
As of right now, 2022, as much as this hurts, you have to say that USA is better than Mexico. And that's just like, that's not opinion, that's a fact. What will happen within the next 4 years? Who knows? But as of right
Well,
now,
and then Jaime, there's like just slightly better because Mex finished in second at the
yeah, dude, but we lost to them
World Cup.
in the Nations League final and the Gold Cup final, and we didn't get out of the
Yeah,
group stage. These are
but
facts, bro.
all of those were finales where they didn't win in regulation time. They won like in penalties,
A win's a
and
win,
then
bro.
they
They
won off
they
of
they came
golden
home
goal.
with the silverware.
No,
Yeah,
I
but
disagree, Jaime.
being
A win
better,
isn't a
being
win, man. You saw what happened against Netherlands. Like these guys are so used to using Mexico as their football barometer. They can't get away with the stuff they get away with against Mexico in the Gold Cup and all these chocolate cups. USA in the chocolate factory, man. They play these worthless tournaments, and once they show up in prime time when the lights are shining down on them, they get exposed for what they are, a crappy CONCACAF team, man.
It is, it
I
is.
don't.
But as of right now, unfortunately, it's like a boxer that holds all the belts. Dude, they hold the belt in the Conca Champions League, right? Seattle beat Pumas, and then they have all the other belts in our region. So as of right now, it sucks to say it, bro, but on paper they are the better team. And it's like it's like if we needed any other catalyst to get us going, it's that, dude.
And the All Star game too.
Oh yeah, and there you go, there you go,
Come
another
on,
one.
man.
Damn.
All those are chocolate cups, man. They don't mean anything.
I mean, for USA
Hey,
fans, it means
I
everything.
used to say the same thing, and then O2 happened. So no, it does mean something, especially with the whole, the mentality of it when they face each other. They have more confidence, and you kind of side with Max in the O2
We used
games.
to have the mental edge on them. We don't even have that
There you
anymore.
go.
They used
You
to be
get
our
that edge,
bitch for
bro.
like 30 years, dude. That's not the case anymore. The times have changed, bro.
Yeah, but the times have
Yeah,
changed at a global scale. That's why you're seeing some of the upsets that you're seeing in the World Cup,
That
and those
too.
upsets will keep happening to the point where it becomes normal because everything's just coming down to now almost to a science as far as like trying to take advantage of every little detail where the gap is closing so much amongst most countries. Most because you
Well,
saw like the Brazil Korea game. Brazil made it look like a friendly.
yeah. And like I mentioned, like everyone's starting to copy each other. And it's like one thing that was pissing me off about this Morocco Spain match is they continue to insist on playing from the back, even though they didn't have the capabilities to do that. Like Morocco was just trying to play like they were Spain and like pass the ball around, and they had a few sketchy incidences where like they were exposed. And it's just like, dude, like, why do these teams all insist on like playing from the back? Like, you got to play to your strengths. You can't just like think you're gonna take FIFA 2022 and play it in real life, dude. You have to know like where your strengths and weaknesses are, and have your own style of play. And that's one of the things that La Volpe was saying is like Mexico has great players, and it's just like the system that Tata was trying to implement. It didn't cater to the players that and the roster that we had. You have dynamic players like Chucky, and like Mexico's always done a great job of producing wingers, and it's like you didn't have a system in place for that to be shown, and that's why it was a mistake to have that in the first place.
Well,
Yeah, to keep
well,
them so long.
like what I don't get about Tata, like you guys talk about mental edge. Like, how is Mexico supposed to have any sort of edge if this guy quit 2 times on you? What other sport gets away? What other coach would get away with that?
That's true.
Well,
You
that's something
you
that
think if a
Leon
coach
Luis
showed up to the
teaches
Super
us.
Bowl and they barely went to well, you got to win the Super going in the playoffs in the NFL. But if they looked shitty in both games and the guy quit after every both games, you think the team would actually like show up?
What
Only in Mexico, man. Only in Mexico.
And only in Mexico would the players like not say a word because they know that they are also part of the problem. And had another coach stepped in, they probably wouldn't have been in the World Cup. So a lot of players like the Antunas, the Gallardos, the Hector Herreras, the Raul Jimenez's, the Guardados, even they're not going to speak up and say, yeah, you should resign or we should get a new coach, because they're like, if he's going, we're going with him, because the new coach is going to pick us.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jaime, because I'm getting tired of hearing this narrative about how just and they do to a point that the owners they pick where they want to go. But a lot of these players, it's starting to show, man. These guys pick just like your guy Chicharito, like they didn't want him, and I don't think he should have gone. But these players have a lot to do with these selections when they go to these tournaments, man.
Oh, absolutely. They don't want somebody to fuck up the locker room.
For sure.
They don't want a Chicharito, bringing whores to the locker room and hotel and cheating on his wife and
On the plane ride.
on the plane ride. They can't have that, man.
No,
And
but
on the hotel, man, you
Yeah, they
put
didn't want
them
that.
right in
They
the
got caught
same.
the first time. They were already walking on a tight rope. If they weren't been got caught the first time, that probably wouldn't have been an issue for them.
Yeah,
but I also wanted to call out Joel on this, man,
Oh
because
snap!
two podcasts back, who was it? Soccer Chronicle. What's his name? Ron.
Ronald.
Yes.
You guys were saying you guys were verbally attacking me there too about when I mentioned how the league it is the only league in the world that doesn't give its own players a chance to play, man. Every other, even I criticize the MLS, but every time you go on ESPN or something, they're talking about, oh, this kid debuted this and that.
Wait,
But
but
in
what does that
well,
have to do with me?
because you said that about the Mexican players that you'd rather them be in Liga MX than just ride the bench in Spain
Europe.
in Europe, right?
Well, playing, because I've advocated for players to go where they're gonna get playing time. So that's why I've said if an MLS team is offering you a chance, take it, right? Uh, so that's always been my thing, getting
No,
playing
no,
time, and that's been the whole thing with Europe of like, because it's a coin toss basically. It's not a guarantee for the most part. It's just a coin toss, and it's like I feel that it's at the point where the next player needs to have like a pretty good agent from Europe if they're gonna go over there. That's gonna get them the better deals.
no, for sure. I was just using the MLS example as a point of what the media says about the players, not so much you.
Oh,
I was
okay.
trying to say that because in the two shows back, you were like, you're after the it was the Mexico loss, right? And you guys were talking about how the problems with it, like what needs to be fixed and what's like what the problems are with Mexican football. And I said the league's the problem. You don't have enough of these players playing or to enough to choose from.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you go
with and
go ahead. Well,
no, no, you go, you go.
no, without without from what I seen, man, you see Mexico it isn't an easy fix. Like you just can't say this is the problem, this is the problem, and you fix this and everything's gonna be okay, right?
I do think, and you know what? This is I could say we disagree right here because I do see it as the easy fix.
Oh,
And
really?
you just mentioned it. They're not giving the players a chance, and I've been, dude, I've been preaching about this already for a longest time. Yeah, aparezco disco rayado. Ever since they moved up to 11, right? They moved up to 11 or whatever foreigners,
9.
nine. And where did you see it first? At Chivas, right? And I've compared this to the whole COVID when COVID hit and you couldn't find toilet paper or water at the store, and that's Chivas at the Mercado de Piernas whenever they go for transfer, it's fucking it's empty shells because the teams they don't really have players like they used to, where they because they're all filled with foreigners, and you could look at the lists and Medio Tiempo used to publish this one, but I do that website became trash. But I used to like it because it used to have some articles like this,
It was
and
always
they used to
trash.
say, "Nah, dude." At one point, they were you get all type of stats right there. Like it was, and this was one of them. And they'll tell you they'll have a list of all the foreigners and what teams, and they'll put like how many minutes they got, and you'll see like all these players that never even played. You're like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like when they brought Gignac, I don't know if you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to remember, but I bet a lot of people don't. They brought in some African guy at the same time they brought Gignac.
Yeah.
He just never played. I don't think he ever even played. If he played, it must have been like 3, 4 games, but you didn't really hear
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
I forgot about that guy.
See, and there's a lot of players like that. They bring them in, and a lot of times it's just for the we buy him for 2 million or we buy him for it's kind of the money laundering that happens, and not always by the clubs. It's a lot of times from the promoters, the agents and whatnot that are doing all these transactions. But like, dude, why they bring that player?
Well,
They
you
didn't
see
even
with
need.
Why
Pumas
why
right now.
doesn't the EPL have this problem though? Because the EPL and La Liga are actually full of a lot of foreigners.
But their thing is different. Their whole
Wait,
thing
wait.
with
Well,
foreigners.
EPL has always had this problem up to recently, where now they got a bunch of English players on top teams. But before, I mean, this is like the first time England's like making a run where it's like actually believable.
Yeah, you look at Arsenal. Arsenal's like full of foreigners. Like I don't even know if they have an English
No,
person on their team.
there wasn't always that. That was recent, Jaime, and I shared that article with you because I tried talking um, about this issue, and I kept like fumbling it. So the whole foreigner thing, it didn't get out of hand till like the early '90s. That was the Bosman ruling. So, and so the Bosman ruling did two things. The first thing it did was, so before they even had this in Europe, right? Which in Mexico they criticize a lot and they say it's the Pacto de Caballeros or whatever, where it's like if your contract ends, you're still not a free, you
Agent.
know, yeah, that. So, but so that's how the Bosman started because this player in the Belgium league, I think he was Belgium. I don't know where he was, but he was playing in Belgium, and he had 6 months left in his contract or less. And he tried to go to France, and then the Belgium team asked for too much money, and they were like, "Dude, they just felt it was unfair, and so the transfer didn't go through." And then the team was like, "Fuck this dude." They sent him to the lower divisions,
Damn.
so they didn't have to pay him. Like his contract was like, they'll pay you this much if you're in the first team and much whatever. So this guy sued. His last name was Bosman, so it's Bosman. He sues them, and the European courts get involved and all that,
Damn.
and he fucking wins, and that's the Bosman ruling. So with the Bosman ruling, now was like if you have 6 months left, you can negotiate, and teams could snatch you up for free. So then that's how some of these teams in Europe started getting stronger because then they could easily swipe players from other teams. And you know the players would want to go to the stronger team, right? If you're playing in the mid to low table and one of the mid to high table team was like, would you like to play over here? Now they were more likely. So it's, it you started seeing some of these teams getting stronger all of a sudden. Here's the second thing it did. So in Europe, you have the European Union. And so European Union means you're free to work or travel um, if you're part of the EU. But they didn't have that in soccer. So like in soccer, you still counted as a foreigner. So after Bosman ruling, you no longer counted as a foreigner. So if you were from a country that was part of the EU, and and then now you like Spain, like right, Spain, if they had like a French guy, it was a foreigner. But but after that, it no longer after the Bosman ruling, those Europeans didn't count as foreigners anymore. So that's when you started seeing this influx of South Americans because they started doing that. They started they started sniping all this young talent and just taking all these players. And all of a sudden you start seeing, well, all the best players are in Europe. Well, that was part of it, because a lot of these guys, if they would get paid what they get paid in Europe, they would stay home. Right? And you get this when they do interviews. This is not coming from me. This comes from them when, especially after they retire, you could hear them talking, and it's out of necessity. So I think a lot of times we get it wrong when we think, oh, everybody wants to. No, not really. Most of them that's just their best bet. But so then that was just 90. So the football pretty much changed. The game pretty much changed at that point, at the 90s, and then it just shifted to Europe all of a sudden, and that's you started getting these big teams. But if you compare like around that time and before, and you would see the South American teams facing off against these European teams, and it was a different, they weren't as dominant as they are now at the Clubs World Cup where they're always winning.
Mm.
Before,
Vélez would win.
yeah, Vélez with Bianchi.
Boca.
Yeah, Bianchi. That was Bianchi. Both times was where he was the coach. He won. Right. He beat. I think he beat what AC Milan, and AC Milan had one of those like big teams. So yeah, that didn't start till like so mid 90s going into late 90s. So a lot of the stuff is new, and when they criticize it in Mexico and not letting players go, but that's just a bunch of bullshit because a lot of players have gone. It's just the fans and media attacking clubs because they pretty much feel like, all right, let them go for free. You spend all this money, but I want to see him in Europe, so just let him go, dude. It's kind of stupid, right? Like, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't spend all this money on something, then just give it away. Because
You're right, Hall. But I could also say I could be. Let's say I'm an owner of a Liga MX team. Like you said, they don't have any necessity. The Uruguayos and other South American players to go to Europe, right? I mean, they
no,
have
they
the
haven't.
necessity. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have the necessity, right? What does a Liga MX owner? What necessity do they have to overpay these Mexican players, or overpay to to buy one of these players from one of these teams when they can just go to South America and buy a guy that drank out of a Boca water bottle for $10,000?
No. Well, I don't. I think that
Because
whole.
that goes both ways, man.
Well, no, the necessity whole thing is that's the competition within the league, where
Hmm.
it's like you're gonna pay them that much because other teams are willing to pay them that much.
No, no,
And
Ho, I gotta disagree with you there, man. Because you said before, because whenever we would talk about Chivas, you would say oh, there's only a handful of teams that could actually keep these Mexican players or buy them from some or bring them back from Europe or buy them from each other, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, well, that's the teams you're competing against. Who did who did Chivas lose? Um, Hermoso Peralta to America. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you see some of these top players, it's always going to be the same five teams,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's kind of where the competition is at between those five teams, where we say that they're overpaid. I don't think they're overpaid, especially if you compare to Europe, how much they make over there. Player making 2 million, 1.5 to 2.5 million. I don't see that as them being overpaid.
But
You know,
using that same logic, so do you expect those four same teams to produce all the Mexican players for the national team?
mm, no, I don't expect them to, but I
Because
think,
these poor teams, they're gonna buy these cheap foreigners, man.
well, yeah, and then especially because the league made it easy for them, which is
Mm-hmm.
how you started seeing some of these teams being more competitive. And I was telling my chi hermanos, like, hey, dude, just because you used to whoop on San Luis or whatever, it's not the same. It's not the same now because they could have sucked ass and then someone invested money or they opened a coin purse and they have five new foreigners and now Chivas is playing them, they're getting their ass handed to them. And they're like, what the fuck happened? And it's usually the coach. Oh, the coach fucking sucks. No, not really. They actually got a couple good players now. Uh, Fortunately, they're not going to stay with the team long enough because after that season or next, the bigger teams poach them. But that's kind of what we've been seeing with some of these teams that all of a sudden they could have one really good season as opposed to before where they kind of normally were always at the bottom and now they'll like just go up and down. But we're talking about like the money. Um, well, that's kind of just a necessity for competing. But I don't think it's a lot, dude. I think that's pretty decent. It shows I think how much less are getting paid like in South America and most all these countries, just how they're getting like peanuts. Because even when they go to Europe, they're still not making that much money. You could see like Ochoa, he took he took a wage cut to go to Europe. Some of the Chiva players that went to second division Spain, they took wage cuts. And so I think that's always been the mentality, almost as if you go there and almost like as if everything's the same, which is what I liked about the maestros. And you used the story the other day, Jaime, with Camoranesi talking about when he was at Verona in Italy.
Yep.
It's like they were putting us in two two-star hotels, and our field we just had one field that was pretty shitty. And it was like at Cruz Azul, we were five-star hotels. We had like five fields, and he's talk about like the clubs in Mex how they match a lot of the teams over there. And I think people forget or they don't think that in Europe, not all these teams are like they don't have it good like where they like to where like we like to imagine. Maybe because I think we look at EPL, which was that one league where through their TV they gave they were able to give money to all these teams and they pretty much invested. And so I think maybe because that's where the comparison's been, but you could go Europe, you could be anywhere, Belgium, Greece, anywhere. A lot of these conditions are shitty. And I
Well,
remember just,
Europe is just like a broad term, you know. People think, "Oh,
it
Europe,
is.
it's like the motherland," but it's like there's tiers to it. There's levels to it.
Yeah, and that was common when they said Central Europe. And he's like, what do you mean Central Europe? He's like, you could go to and then play in what, Cyprus? And you think that's better? And it's true. But I remember the first time that I kind of like, it kind of opened my eyes. And it was this one player from Bolivia. He, this dude was just like scoring goals left and right in the Bolivian league. He had like 40 goals or something. It was insane. Um, Granted, it's a banana league, but he was just killing it. And and so this team from Spain was trying to get him, and Tecos just offered him more money, and he came to Mexico.
What was his name?
Ah, fuck, dude, I can't.
He had like a
Botero.
funny name, right?
I don't remember. I could find it if I do a search. But I mean, this dude was like, I'm not gonna go to Spain and they're
Jose
paying me peanuts.
Alfredo Castillo Parada.
I think that's him, where he was at Tecos, and then he jumped around through a couple teams.
He's from Bolivia. He scored 92 goals before he went to Tecos. It's probably that guy.
Probably. What year does it say the year?
Uh, 2000 to 2002, he was at Bolivia, and then in 2002,
Yeah,
he went to Tecos.
yeah, that's probably gonna be him. And he was like, dude, fuck that, I'm not gonna be trying to risk it for 3, 4 more
Oh
years to
yeah,
like
in 2002,
try
he
to like
scored 42 goals.
yeah, there you go. See, I was enough with the number of goals. Um, and that's the one thing that people forget. Like they're taking care of a family or whatever. They might have a sick sibling or parent or they're not, dude. Come on, man. It's they want a way out. Then we saw this with the River Plate guy. Um, he had a contract clause where he would be guaranteed like 5 million or something on the transfer, and the European team was like, we don't want to pay that. It's like Europe come over here and some MLS team was like, fucking, we'll pay. And he's like, late. He came to MLS. But I mean, what does that 5 million mean to his family? They're set, dude. They're set. He could break his leg tomorrow. They're gonna have a nice life.
Speaking about situations like that, the latest rumor from Real Oviedo is that Marcelo Flores is not in the plans, and that
Oh man,
they're gonna terminate his contract. And it sounds like Leon is interested in picking him up.
sounds like a good place. He
Uh,
could be with
Larc-
Larcamon, dude.
Larcamon, yeah. So that is what's happening. If I'm not
I
mistaken,
hope
Real Oviedo is owned by Grupo Pachuca, right?
could be, could be. I know they, if they're not like
They are.
the main owner, they could be majority owner
Yeah, they're part of. Yeah, they're.
because it's
Yeah.
those are actual club with socios, so they'll just buy the majority social stock. But
Carso owns the other half.
who?
Carso.
Is that from Spain or where is
Oh,
that from?
Slim.
Oh, shit. Well, damn. I think, but like a lot of these teams run off of having that type of committee, which prevents them from just doing whatever they want, right? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because they could just be like, no, fuck it, he's gonna be a starter and he's gonna play. He's playing. He's gonna be like the son of that fat kid that his dad owns the team. He's like, well, he's gonna play because he's gonna play. They got these committees, and then it just of socios, and that's the people from the neighborhood. That's like you lose your socials there, the fucking no one will show up to your games. So they know that. It just you don't have that in Mex.
And I don't think it's a bad move. I mean, he's leaving a team that's in relegation in Division Two Spain. It seems like they're doing a complete overhaul, and it seems like they're not terminating his contract because he's terrible, he's booty. It seems they had an agreement with Arsenal that he was gonna get a specific amount of minutes, and he's not getting it. So if he can play D1 ball in Mexico, get the minutes that they want him, I can easily see him going back to Europe afterwards.
Yeah, it's just not Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal is it's very similar to Vela, right? And Vela was doing way better. And it's like, dude, if they're not playing them now, they're just
Yeah.
really not gonna play them.
Dude's
They
like
just don't want them.
5'3", 5'4", and you have someone like I mean, it's hard to break into that team, bro.
Yeah, and that at that height, it makes it more difficult. Like you just have to work twice as harder. Um,
Like
I do hope
Saka's
it.
I don't know if they play the same position, but I mean, obviously he's in the World Cup right now and he's doing really well, so
Yeah, no, I just do hope that if he does come to Max and that he gets all the playing time, that he develops into that better player. And I hope people remember that and stop shitting on the league.
Hey, this is just like the Santi Munoz. He went to Newcastle, and he wasn't going to break through either. Now he's back
Oh,
at Santos.
That was a straight up marketing move, bro. I don't think they ever had a genuine intention of like using him. They just wanted to, you know, sell jerseys and make that connection to the movie goal. But I mean, was he ever seriously considered for Newcastle? Probably not, dude.
did you guys ever see Goal 3?
Yeah, that was the
It was
worst one.
trash, dude. It was trash.
That was the worst goal like out of all of them. That was the worst one, dude.
Dude, 20 minutes in, and you're like, is this even a soccer movie?
Yeah.
I was waiting for the Mexicans to show up, man. With Santi.
Oh, that's right. He
It was
he's
just that
kind of
white guy,
written off.
right?
Yeah, he got written off. The thing was that Adidas, they lost like their main sponsorship, and Adidas was one. I figured the story was gonna be that Santi comes to play to MLS because at that time Beckham was in the Galaxy, so that he gets signed, and I think and Blanco was at the Chicago Fire,
Uh huh.
and they wanted to use him, and so then they were gonna do that. Uh, they were gonna come to MLS and then go to the World Cup, and it was gonna be a Mexico England final. But I don't. They kind of.
And they even fucked that up. Not even in movies they can make that matchup happen, bro. Estamos jodidos.
No, he breaks his leg. Spoilers, spoilers for anybody. If everyone is still hoping to see it after all these years, he breaks his leg off camera, so he's no longer able to play.
Sorry, I had to share
That's
that
like the Rocky
Greg
Five, right? They
Berhalter.
don't count that one.
Wait, what
Tweet.
happened?
No, I said that third goal movie is like Rocky Four. I mean, they don't count that one.
Oh, right. With Tommy the Machine Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one might as well not happen. Yeah, no, they should have just. Have you guys? Did you guys ever see that cartoon, Super Campeones?
Of course.
Oliverato. Ah, yes, it's must watch. And there was like that whole rumor that like Oliver wakes up in the hospital and then he's like missing his legs or something, and it was all a dream.
Yeah.
But that was just fake. That was just fake. But
Mm.
that's kind of goal. He wakes up. He was never even a soccer player. He was just dreaming the whole time.
That conspiracy theory.
Well, I want to hear you guys' predictions for these quarterfinal matchups. Starting with the rematch of the '78 World Cup, Netherlands versus Argentina. Who do you think is going to win that?
Oh, I'm excited for that game actually because I do see it as the rematch for '98.
'98. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, with Fair come. That's that golazo, man.
And they beat Argentina, right?
They did, man. Oof, I don't know, man. And not only rematch of '98, they went all the way back to '78 and they played in the final. Argentina wins the World Cup at home.
Mm-hmm.
So you always had these big games between them. So I do. It's hard for me to predict it because Argentina has that talent, but they just look lackluster. They don't even look strong.
No, I
You know,
disagree. No talent. You take Messi out,
like
no Querétaro. That's
damn.
Querétaro without Messi.
Just for some context, their head-to-head record against Argentina, 4 games won, 2 draws, and 3 losses. So they actually have a winning record against Argentina. But in the last time they faced each other, which was in the 2014 World Cup, they tied 0-0, and I think they were eliminated.
Look, Argentina, they lost Saudi Arabia. Mexico held them back for 70% of the game. They beat a weak Poland. Last 10 minutes of the game versus Australia, they were asking for the refs to blow the whistle. They haven't played
A
anyone
legitimate
good.
opponent.
They haven't had a legit opponent. They had a
Yeah.
USA who was in a weak group. They struggled at beating Ecuador. They beat Senegal, but look, Senegal, they got spanked by England. So this is going to be their actual first true opponent.
True.
So with that, if Messi comes out balling, Argentina might actually get away with it.
But you can say the same thing about Argentina. They didn't really face any real opponents.
Yeah, but they have Messi. That's a
Not
different
even
thing.
Mexico.
No, Mexico was a fucking joke against Argentina, man.
Damn.
I low key want Argentina to win, and then like Brazil just like steamroll them. But
And tell us how you really feel about Mexico.
I'm trying to give you guys perspective from the rest of the world, bro. They look at this Mexican team as a joke. I mean, you saw the video where it was like easy, easy.
Yeah, I think Argentina will pull through 1-0.
Yeah, I think they will pull through, and I think everybody wants to see that Brazil Argentina matchup in the semis. You just can't count out Messi and his ability to score when they need it the most. But we'll see if I mean, you cannot rule out Louis Van Gaal. He's a great coach, and he might know how to beat them. But either way, that's going to be on Friday at 11 a.m. On the other Friday match, Croatia and Brazil have Croatia sort of punched themselves out of this World Cup because they are older and they had to go to overtime to get to the next round. So you're dealing with fatigue. What do you guys think?
Brazil's gonna style on them.
I
4-0
think
again.
Same.
I think it might be like the Serbia match where like those Eastern European teams that sit back do give Brazil some trouble, but after 60, 70 minutes, Brazil should be taking the lead.
But what I will say is I did enjoy when Croatia they porked Canada. That was pretty nice to see during the group stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him after every match. After every
Oh,
can they came
dude,
out.
I enjoyed watching Canada just do absolutely nothing in the World Cup. That was my favorite. Um, as far as Brazil's record, 3 wins and 1 drawn against Croatia, so they have a very favorable record. I don't see this going any other way. I think Brazil's inspired right now. Obviously, they lost Gabriel Jesus, but they are just so stacked. It's not. It doesn't even matter at this point. They have.
Is he completely out?
He's out for the next 3 months, dude. Yeah, he's
All
he's
right.
he's out for the tournament. Yeah, and you also have them fighting for Pele, right? He was in the hospital, so they just have everything in their favor to win this World Cup, and I don't see anyone stopping them. Croatia's just another bump on the road, um, pit stop, whatever you want to call it. England France, that's the match that everyone sees as the most level. What do you think?
No, I see France stronger than England, but I do think England can um can beat them, or has the ability to beat them. You know what I mean?
They have the capabilities to put up a great match. But this is
I don't
England,
know.
mate. They're gonna bottle it, mate. They're gonna
I
bottle it.
see him. I see him in experience. A lot of youth. It's like similar to the U.S. Lots of great players that you think would do great, but just I think that an experience will get to them. And then France. I mean, France has a better defense and a better goalie, so that should definitely, if there's any chances of being a close game, that should definitely swing the momentum in France's favor.
Yeah, 2-1 France.
Everyone's talking about Messi and Ronaldo, and no one's talking about Mbappe's 9 goals and 1 World Cup that he already possesses, and he's only 23. This guy is gonna shatter close his goal scoring record, man. This is barely his second World Cup. He's already eclipsed Messi and Ronaldo. This is just like the new generation, man. It's not even fair. Ronaldo and Messi never had a chance.
Well, they never either had the team that he had, so you put prime Ronaldo, prime Messi with a France or a Spain, the dominant teams of their time. I'm sure they would have had similar records as well.
I mean, Portugal went on a deep run in 2006. Even before that, they had like Figo. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. Portugal's had a squad before.
Yeah,
2000,
but it was like a
2004,
hard
they went to the
rate, hard
final.
work squad. It wasn't
Huh?
like it was like a squad that busted their ass off. You know, every ball 50-50. It wasn't like a dominant squad like France where you probably didn't even touch the ball like 70% of the
No,
time
I'm
because they
just
had
saying,
it.
like, Ronaldo did have a supporting cast in 2006, and he was a young buck, you know? I think that was his best chance at winning a World Cup. As far as Argentina goes, I mean, you can say that Argentina's had like a lot of great individual talent and a deep roster, but again, Messi just doesn't. When it comes down to it, he doesn't have the same supporting cast as he did at Barcelona. So, still though, good for Mbappe, man. Good for the sport.
If Mbappe was Mexican, he wouldn't. They would say no está listo, todavía le falta.
He wouldn't even be at the World Cup.
Exactly.
And that's
He'd
what
still be. Yeah.
Alan Pulido, he like tweeted something today, and he was talking about that. He was saying how like if Mexico had done what like Portugal did today, right, where they benched Ronaldo and they put this kid that doesn't have the experience, like everybody would be, crucifying the coach. And Pulido was just saying like, let the kids play, man. Like, let them have an opportunity. Like fuck your proceso and fuck your seniority. Like, yeah.
But
So,
that's the opposite of what we wanted. We wanted to let the kids play. All the fans wanted Santi
well, the
Jimenez.
fans, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but you know, some people like Ricardo say that we're shitting on Raúl because he's an America fan and it has nothing to do with him being an America guy.
No, I'm not. I agree with the criticism, but what I was trying to say is that it was just focused on him. Like there was blame that should be shared, man. I The guy shouldn't have showed up. I was listening to the show. Who was it that said that mentioned that Benzema point? I mean, you're right.
That's Jaime.
Like Benzema, like this guy would just won the damn Ballon d'Or or whatever it's called, the gold ball, and he decided not to show up because he thought they had a better chance to win without him, an injured version of him.
Yeah, Polio says, en otros países dejar en la banca a alguien como Cristiano con tanto nombre y prestigio, imposible. Le diría que el jugador le falta experiencia y es muy chico para meterlo como titular en un partido tan importante en estas instancias del Mundial. So, yeah, Polio was just basically applauding what Portugal did today with Gonzalo Ramos.
And if you guys, I don't know if you've seen there's like a Televisa clip circulating around that the Argentine guy that played for Puebla. He was arguing with Osvaldo, and he was mentioning this point about how the other national teams like this isn't the 80s and 90s like Mexico likes to run the Stone Age teams, man. Like all these national teams, they're giving these young guys a chance. And your boy Oswaldo, he's like, yeah, well those are you're Argentine. You don't know how things happen in Mexico. Like, come on, man. Like the game's evolving. These young kids,
Yeah.
like it seems like only in Mexico isn't allowed to have like it's like them being a snail. Whenever they mention young players, it's like salt to them. Like they
It,
die. They don't like it hurts them, man.
it
Like
goes back to our culture, bro. It's like todavía es un niño, it's like our culture, bro. It's just how we are raised and how we're slow. Carlos Salcido made his debut when he was like in his 20s and he was washing cars before that. Like, yeah, it's just weird, man. Morocco, Portugal. You have the Iberian battle over there, man. Morocco already handled business with Spain. Portugal's next. I don't know.
Oh, damn. I don't think they're gonna do it a second time, dude. I think they're gonna try the same thing, and this time the young kid se los van a zafar.
that Benfica kid, he's good, man.
The one that scored a hat trick? or which?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he plays for Benfica.
yep. But also Morocco. What was his name in the midfield? That guy was a freaking beast.
Number 8.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the difference with Spain and Portugal, they have those big names with experience and personality to get them out of those big moments. Like Pepe. Pepe's what, 39, 40?
I
He
didn't
scored
even.
today. That's a guy
Yeah.
who like will impose himself
He's
against
also
these
a
young
walking red
Morocco kids.
card, so there's that.
Ah man, that's a myth. That's a myth from his Madrid Barca games.
That guy
Besides
was
that,
always a liability. You just know
I
you'll.
don't
Oh
know.
fuck, Pepe's gonna have a
I
red
want
card
to see the
today.
last time he got a red with Portugal. That was more just Madrid, Barcelona red cards. But outside of that, he's not that big a liability. People make him out seem.
Y está feo.
He's tough, Phil.
Que es caritón, ¿o qué pedo?
I'm a big
What are you
Just
fan
trying to
of.
saying,
say? He'll scare you.
oh, for sure, man. I wouldn't want him near me.
Me gusta, pero me asusta.
I'm a big fan of Ashraf Hakimi, and how satisfying was it for him to score the game-winning penalty kick
He was born in
against
Spain.
Spain, where he was born?
Aren't those guys like the Mexicans in Spain, the Moroccans?
What do you mean, like the Mexicans in Spain?
What?
Like the immigrant population that's close to their country.
Well, I mean, they're basically connected by Gibraltar, so yeah.
Wait, you mean Mexicans as in Mexicans that come to the U.S. or I don't
Oh
I don't I don't get
no,
the reference.
you know how there's a Mexican American population over here, right?
Okay, yeah.
And just just like how Mexico's connected to the U.S., Morocco's right
Ah,
there by Spain, and they have a large population
Yeah.
of Moroccans in Spain.
And also in Belgium. Don't know why, but when Morocco like won, there was like huge shit going on in Belgium. But yeah, when you go to Europe, it's very common, like if you're in Spain, especially in the south of Spain, it's very common for you to like get to Morocco. It's right there.
Yeah, and everyone talks about Hakimi being born in Spain and Madrid, but if you look at their roster, they have like 12 guys that were not born in Morocco. Same thing, like their parents immigrated and they
Yeah.
wanted to play for the motherland. So there's a lot of hate for that. They have like 2 guys born in Spain, like 3 in France,
Uh,
things like that.
Ziyech, he was born in the Netherlands. Yeah. But it is what it is. I will say, obviously, if they try to do the same thing they did against Spain,
they will, Jaime. They will. They're not going to change it.
yeah, but Portugal will be a little bit more aggressive, and they have the tools to get the job done. But I
Eh,
still think it'll be a. I would not be surprised if it goes to penalties again.
Oh,
Hey,
I
their
don't see
defense
it.
been living up to standard. Morocco only has 1 goal against, and it was an own goal. Not even in PKs they could get scored on.
I
So I
know
mean, they're gonna. I know you call it anti-football, but they're gonna write off that
they're
momentum.
gonna be the
That's
Greece of this World Cup.
Damn, that'd be crazy.
I
Imagine.
wouldn't say that, but I'm just saying if it's not broken, why
Yeah,
fix
no,
it?
that's
They're
great.
gonna
Great
ride that
stat.
as much as they can.
That's true.
That'd be crazy.
So are you picking them?
I don't know who to pick for that one.
No, I'm not
No,
picking
I
them.
have a
I
feeling. I
think the
have a
juice
feeling.
is gonna cost them. I think Portugal's experience will take them, and then
I think.
Portugal loses to France.
Yeah, everybody's losing to
I
France.
think that. I think like yeah, that has worked for them, but I think it yeah, the quarter ran out, dude. Yeah, the battery ran out on that, and that's it, dude.
Yeah, well, they have a couple days for recovery. It's only Tuesday. That game's not until Saturday, so they have plenty of time to recover for that match, and that's going to be on Saturday at 7 a.m. So it's sad, guys. I'm very sad because I was getting into the habit of waking up and watching these
Same.
soccer games every morning, and my little routine before I go into work mode, and I don't know what to do with myself now for the next 2 days, bro. Like we don't got Liga MX, we don't got anything going on. It's just like there's no soccer. It's
Bro,
weird.
what time do you go to work in, man? Those games are early.
I work from home, so I start whenever I want, but the idea is to be online by like 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just catching the clips, and after I came home, I'd watch them.
No, I've been
I was noticing that there's a bunch of people watching the games. I'm like, damn, don't these people have jobs, man? Like,
Yeah,
I was
dude.
watching them. I don't go in till 2 o'clock, so it was
The
perfect for me.
the best thing about the pandemic was remote work, and ever since then it's just like you can just basically just work from home and watch these games and have them in the background. But yeah, dude, I was waking up at like when the group stage, I was waking up at 5 to watch those, and I was great, man. It's a nice little routine. By the time like the second game of the day is over, you're like, I've been so productive, and it's only like it's only 9 a.m. Oh man.
Like I got so much done already.
You know, it's weird because like when you have an incentive to wake up in the morning, you don't feel so tired. You don't complain as much. You know, if I have to like just wake up normally, like tomorrow, I'm gonna have to wake up normally and just go to work. I'm gonna feel so tired and like, let me get some more shut eye in. But when there's a soccer game, bro, it's like that meme where like
Es
you
viernes y el cuerpo lo sabe, or what?
it's no, it's like that meme of like that Asian kid where he's just like dressed in his like a hoodie, and then like then the other photos like him dressed up in a tuxedo. It's like that's me, bro. Like when it's work, I'm like, I can wear whatever, but when it's like the World Cup, I'm ready to go, you know? Yeah. But gentlemen, it's been a great pleasure. We will try to catch you guys hopefully this weekend after some of these matches, maybe on Friday, maybe on Saturday. But yeah, do you guys have any closing thoughts before we wrap up episode 363?
oh, that Moroccan goalkeeper. If you guys noticed, he'd always give the penalty kickers a shake and bake. He'd go side to side,
Yep.
and
Oh
that
yeah,
worked
great
for him, man.
observation.
I was
Yeah,
like, man,
great, really good observation. That
yeah.
I remember seeing it when he still made that save, and then I just forgot. I just forgot.
Wait, so
But
he
yeah,
was just like what, moving around a lot, or what was he doing?
No, the side to side shake and bake.
Oh, okay.
wait, are you on? I think. Let me see, because the rule.
Because they used to criticize Osvaldo for moving too much on penalty
Well,
kicks.
I think you can move, but I think you can't step forward.
You have to have one foot on the line.
Yeah, as
Yeah,
long
the
as your
foot on the
feet's
line.
online, it's good.
What was that?
You
But
just
as long as your foot's online, you're good. But that the Spain striker, the first one that took the PK, he had terrible luck because right before the whistle blew in extra time, he had a shot and they hit the
Hit the
far
post.
post,
Yeah.
and then he took the first PK, hit the post.
Yeah.
So he needs a limpia.
damn.
He
He
needs
needs
a
to,
It's
he
Olympia.
needs some
Yeah,
sage. They need to burn some sage. They need to get him
yeah,
Olympia.
like two shots,
black as
both hit the
well.
post within 2 minutes of each other. Like yeah,
Yeah.
Shit, that does not. Yeah, he should stay in Qatar for like a month.
Also, I hate this trend of some of these PKs where they do the little like, I don't know, the slow run up, or the one where they do like the fake little hop and they shoot it the other way. Like, dude, I hate them. Absolutely hate them.
it's a lack of confidence. That's why they're trying to see if the goalkeeper can beat himself, and then they tap
Right.
it slowly to the other side because they're not confident in running up and just smacking it, top right or anything.
Yeah. It's just one of those trends that, you know, what was another thing that I saw? Obviously, you can't do it in a penalty shootout, but I thought it was interesting where it's like you take the PK, but you pass the ball, and then somebody runs in and puts it away. And I didn't know that was legal.
I've seen some Brazilian games where they do that.
Wait, you could pass the ball and
Yeah, Johan Cruyff did that.
Messi
wait.
and
So there's
Suarez did that with Barcelona. Yeah,
So instead of like shooting it, right, you just lightly tap the ball, and then you hope that your other teammates like run and just kick it in.
Oh, but you can't do that during a regular PK shootout.
You can't do it during, obviously, you can't do it during a shootout, but you can do it in like a regular.
A regular PK, yeah,
Yeah,
okay, but yeah, yeah, because once you touch it, it's already on
yeah.
the bus on play.
All right. I'm gonna ask you guys this question. How would you guys feel about like an actual shootout MLS style?
No, I don't know.
Nah, mi madre.
I saw them. I saw a few, but no, I didn't.
They might
The,
as
the
well
ones
bring
that
the
Not a.
they throw,
flamethrowers behind the
Huh?
poles.
the ones that they throw with their hands.
No, it's
No, no,
like
no.
it's like
Like
hockey.
yeah.
You have like a run up, and then you get to.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Nah, that's lame, man.
I think that'd be fun, dude. Like you have a 5 seconds to shoot the ball, but in that 5 seconds, the world is your oyster, bro.
You know what? I wouldn't mind making the game a little shorter, like 40 minutes or something, like forcing teams to attack more. And in order to avoid the whole like defensive thing, no extra time, straight to PKs. Only do extra time
Uh,
during the final.
in that case, just do golden goal. That's what they were trying to do.
But I should see like if you haven't been able to score a goal in 90 minutes, why do we want to see another 30 minutes of it? Let's go to PKs. Let's just go straight to PKs, except for the final.
I would actually, like I said, FIFA tried to do this. What's wrong with golden goal? El gol gana, ya, se acabó.
America won the title that way.
Also, Pachuca over Cruz Azul. Yeah,
Mexico over Brazil.
that's right. The Gold Cup.
Well, if I could, Jaime, I wanted to add one last thing to that argument I was having with Joel.
Oh shit.
'Cause
Damn,
I'm not letting
todavía.
this. I'm not letting
He's
this
had it
go,
out
man.
for you today. Let's go. Wait.
Amaneció con el pito parado. All right, go.
See, we can all talk about.
Round one, fight!
Hey, and just so you know, while I'm saying this, I have my finger pointed out, man.
Go.
Look, like we can all talk about what's best for Liga MX and having and by doing so for also for the national team. But what really matters is what these owners say. And if you go on Twitter, you can see that scumbag from Azteca, that Salinas.
Yeah.
A fan is arguing the same point with them about the extranjeros, about the money and this and that. And the fan told him, "Oh, if you just reduce the number of extranjeros, there'll be more Mexican players, and you guys don't have to worry about selling or overpaying for them, right?"
Yeah.
You know what his response was? He said,
No.
"You can look it up on Twitter if you don't believe me."
No, I
What do you
do
say?
believe you.
He said, "Oh, if they're not gonna be good enough to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona, why would I want more of them?" It goes to show you what the owners think about the Mexican player.
Yeah, well, good thing he's not like a. He's no longer like a full owner. He has like
No, but all the owners are dumbasses. Watch the interview with the Cruz
majority
Azul guy.
are.
Look, what a
Yeah.
majority are. Like, the Pachucas, the Santos guys, even the America guys, they know their stuff.
Well, I
But,
mean, I
like, the
don't know
Cruz
about
Azul
Pachuca,
one,
man. They
but
Pachuca's been doing things pretty good, man. I don't know.
that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know
They
about.
know their stuff. But the Cruz Azul one, they asked him about the coach that should come to the national
Oh,
team
yeah,
and, like, what kind of characteristics he would need. Dude had no idea. Like, you can tell he doesn't even know what an offsides is. But
yeah,
there's a lot of those kind of coaches that are making those decisions. Now, I do want to say, you keep arguing domestic league, strong domestic league. I'm gonna make this argument. There's no guarantee that if you have a bunch of players playing abroad in Europe or whatever strong leagues that you're gonna have success. But there is a guarantee that if you don't have any and they're all in Mexico, that you will not have success at the big stage. And that is my argument for oh, we need players in the league. Like, you need both. You need both.
yeah.
But if
Well,
you don't have players playing in these leagues or even exporting, you will not have success.
yeah. You know what? I'm gonna add to that, and I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to mention this, and I keep forgetting. I think if Mex got to that point where they're creating a good amount of players that we've seen, like let's say 20 or 30, which should be the number, not less than 12, especially compared to the bigger teams. I think if they get to that point of they're creating that much talent, uh, technically they don't even have to send them abroad, right? Same like if we see Brazil. Brazil doesn't need to send none of those players. Those players wouldn't suck if they stayed in the Brazilian league. They'll be just as good. If anything, they're making Europe better by playing over there. So yeah,
And
no,
that's my point, Hole. If you produce a bunch of them, it doesn't matter if they go or they stay. You're gonna have your pick of the litter, man.
see, we agree, and I don't know why you say that we disagree. We pretty much agree on everything.
No, I think Jaime, you got to put this one up as a win for me, man.
we, we, we,
He made you agree with him.
And with that,
Exactly.
I think we'll end it. But thank you guys for hopping on tonight. We'll catch you on the weekend with episode 364. In the meantime, enjoy your couple of days off from the great sport of football and make sure to follow us on Twitter. Gentlemen, have a great night. Thank you so much.